Within this video, I'm going to provide to you some helpful tips to identify data sources of OAS that are bad data quality due to communication failure, loss in communications to the PLC. Maybe the PLC is offline, maybe the software is misconfigured at the data source. We'll identify easily which points are bad data quality, how to resolve these problems, and then also how to implement redundancy to account for a parallel backup data source. To identify which tags are bad data quality, we're going to use a new feature built into OAS. You want to be using OAS version 18.0.0.61. You can see your current version under Configure System Status. Here we can see I'm using that specific version. So if I go to Configure Drivers, I'm going to set up a Modbus interface to a local Modbus emulator. So I'll add that driver. And now if I go to Configure Tags, and let me just change, say, the ramp value to a data source of Modbus. And to make this interactive, I'm going to go back to the drivers, and I'm going to set the reconnect time return to online. I'll set that back to just 5 seconds so that we can see the connections reestablished quickly. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to stop the Modbus emulator, and I see that the ramp value, that tag, has now gone to bad data quality. And there we can see ramp itself is bad data quality, and its parent group shows the number of bad tags that it has defined there as one bad tag somewhere in this configuration that needs to be resolved. So I'll start the emulator again. We're back to good data quality because we have that fast reconnect time. Let's go down into the group PLC and define a few more tags here. Now let's define the analog input module, input 1, as a data source of Modbus. And now what we'll do is we'll stop the emulator again. We see we have a bad data quality on AI module 1 with one tag. We also have a bad data quality tag under AO module 1, and that is because it is a calculation based upon input 1 of AI module 1. So we have two bad tags in the PLC, and then if we look at the root level, we have three bad tags in the entire configuration. So that's a really helpful way to see which tags are bad, as each tag highlights to red, but also the parent group within it highlights red and shows you which tags are bad quality. Also, another thing to point out to resolve, to identify problems that are occurring at a data source are the system errors. Now the system errors, you can either go to Configure System Errors or just click on this red flashing triangle. And there we see we have the Modbus is a problem with the driver interface named Modbus, and we have different communication failures. So it can't basically connect to that socket. So if I restart that emulator, there we can see that the system errors have turned to green, and these are now just previous errors. So everything is back to good. So that's one way to easily identify what communication problems are. Another quick way to identify which tags are bad data quality is to use the watch window. So now, also new to this version is the ability to add to the watch window all tags of the entire configuration. So if I select the tags group, or any subgroup for that matter, and then right click on that, that will add just the tags within that group and all tags within all the subgroups. But if I go to the root level and I select Add to Watch, I have a list of all of the tags along with our current values and qualities and timestamps. And here we can select to organize by default, it's just organize them by tag name. But if you click on this, you can either do ascending or descending. Also to show like which ones are the latest values that are changing under using the timestamp. What I'm going to do now is I am going to stop the emulator. And now what I can do is I can use the quality column to show which tags are bad. So I have 3 bad tags here at the top of the watch window. And so those are the ones that I need to identify in the configuration as being bad. So that's another great way to see which tags are bad. So let's start that emulator again. And now we're back to good quality on all of the tags. You will need to click on the quality column again anytime to refresh the order. So the watch window doesn't automatically reorder the tags based upon the quality. So we've seen how to review the system errors. Where the system errors are actually logged is under Configure Options. And if we go to System Logging, we can see that the current system errors are being logged into this directory. So you can specify the path at which these files are being generated as far as system errors. You can also enable transaction logging for any of the specific driver types for like Allen Bradley, Siemens, MQTT, Modbus. If we enable Modbus communications for transaction logging, you can optionally specify a specific driver interface to log. If we leave that blank, it's going to log all of the Modbus transactions. And then further down is where the transaction logs are actually being saved. For each specific data source type, we have a troubleshooting guide from our website at openautomationsoftware.com in our knowledge base. So go to Support Knowledge Base, and then select the data source of your choice. Say, for example, if it's an Allen Bradley data source, if you select the Troubleshooting Allen Bradley link, there we see how to troubleshoot bad data quality for Allen Bradley. We have the same for Modbus, OPCUA, MQTT, Siemens. These are all have their own specific possible causes of bad data communications to the data source. With OAS, you can also set up redundancy. If you go to our Getting Started section, you'll see a redundancy section and an overview of all the different kinds of redundancy that could be set up. But in one particular feature that's helpful for the data sources is the driver interface failover. So there's a video that demonstrates that for the various driver types that support it. And then under the Configure application, it's very easy to implement under the drivers. For example, for Modbus, you just say Enable Failover, and then you can specify a second IP address that the driver interface will fail over to when the primary driver interface is not able to be reached. If you need further assistance, you're welcome to contact us at support@oasiot.com. You can send us an email, visit our Contact Us page, and there you'll see our phone number to reach us directly at 303-679-0898.